Hello, I'm Dr. Jonathan Berg. I'm an internist and a rehabilitation specialist. I'm also president of Cornerstone Wellness. Today I'd like to take some time to discuss with you a topic that most of you have heard about. It's the area of omega-3s and omega-6s. Most people have heard of these things. They know they're supposed to take them. They may even be taking them, but they don't really understand why they're supposed to be taking them and what they actually do. So to begin with, omega-3s, despite what you've been told, are not made by fish. Omega-3s are actually made by plankton, which are the little one-celled creatures that live in the ocean that the fish eat, small fish eat it, and then eventually it gets up to this fish the size of a salmon or whatever. And omega-6s, which are sort of the opposite, are made by seeds. And that would be things like wheat, hops, barley. In this country, in the East, it would be like rice is a seed, of course. And omega-6s and omega-3s are both essential oils. In other words, you need them both to live. The problem is we get way too much omega-6 in this country, in the Western world, and not enough omega-3. And what that has led to is an epidemic of inflammatory type diseases, the most important of which, of course, is heart disease. Heart disease is an inflammatory disease. It's a disease of inflammation of the inside of the coronary arteries, which eventually gets blocked because the body basically, all these inflammatory substances are kind of coming together and blocking blood flow, and that's how you have a heart attack. Now, if you have a heart attack, your likelihood of dying of a heart attack is 50% if you're on omega-3s of what it would be if you weren't on omega-3s. So that alone is a reason to be on omega-3s. It saves lives all the time. And you can see on this little seesaw, there's the salmon on one end and bread on the other, which of course is backwards. You want more salmon, less bread. The best way to look at it is omega-6 and omega-3s. One way to look at it with this little cartoon is omega-6s are the devil. Even though they're necessary, we get too much. Omega-3s, little angel, you want more of those in your diet. And omega-3s have been used in multiple studies to look at diseases where they actually have efficacy, where they actually have provided improvement in these conditions, not the least of which is heart disease, but there's things like age-related cognitive deficit, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, PMS, of all things, kidney stones, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, the list goes on and on. You can go to our website and take a look at this list of these diseases, or you could actually just Google omega-3s and some of these diseases will show up. Here's an article out of a major journal, a major cardiology journal, that shows that omega-3s actually decrease the risk factor for heart disease, the major of which is called metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome would be blood pressure, elevated blood pressure, elevated triglycerides, cholesterol, blood pressure, I may have already said that, insulin resistance syndrome, and overall inflammation, which is measured by a lab test that your doctor may have already ordered for you called CRP, or C-reactive protein. That drops with omega-3. So it improves all of the risk factors for heart disease. And given the fact that heart disease is the #1 killer in this country, why wouldn't you be taking an omega-3? Particularly if you have a family history. Now, how do you get omega-3s? Well, yes, you can get them from fish, no question. But most people say salmon, and the reality is most people buy farm-raised salmon. Well, farm-raised salmon is eating corn. It's not eating plankton, so it really doesn't have much in the way of omega-3s. You need to eat wild salmon, which of course is twice the price. It does taste better, but it's twice the price. Some people take flaxseed oil. Well, the problem with flaxseed oil is that the active ingredient in omega-3, the thing that does all the work, is the EPA and the DHA. Those are very long, if I gave you the actual name of the molecule, it's a very long word. And the EPA and DHA are what do all the positive work in the omega-3s. Well, flax doesn't have EPA and DHA. It has something called ALA. And ALA has to convert very slowly down to EPA and DHA, and you just don't get enough of it. So it's a very inefficient way to get your omega-3s. So you can eat the fish, you can take flaxseed. There's problems with both of those. Or you can take a good fish oil supplement. When I say good fish oil supplement, we're going to talk about what does that mean. One of the biggest problems with omega-3s, of course, are contaminants. Fish concentrate all the stuff that's in the ocean in their fat, which is where the omega-3 is coming from, in the fish fat. So you've got your PCBs, mercury, cadmium, all these nasty molecules, arsenic you've all heard of, lead, of course, dioxins, furans. All these things are concentrated in the fish oil, and you're getting them in the fish, if you're getting your omega-3s from fish, and you're getting them from bad supplements, okay? So how do you choose a good omega-3? How do you know if it's a good omega-3 supplement? Well, you're looking at several things on the label. The first of which is the dose of the EPA and DHA. These are the active ingredients. You want the highest EPA and DHA you can find, as long as the purity is high as well. The best omega-3 supplements are molecularly distilled, and the peroxide levels are low. Peroxide is basically a sign of rancidity. The more rancid a fat is, the higher the peroxide level. Lipid peroxides, which is rancid fats, are very dangerous things. You don't want them in your body. You don't want to eat them. They taste horrible. And in the case of fish, they taste like fish. That's when you take a fish oil supplement and it smells like fish, you know that it's rancid. Omega Health is our product. We created this. I actually formulated it for Cornerstone Wellness Program. You can only get it from a physician who's participating in the Cornerstone Wellness Program. You cannot buy it on the internet. You can not get it in stores, so don't waste your time looking for it. You'd actually have to talk to your doctor about getting it, and he'll have it there in the office. It has an extremely high dose of EPA and DHA at 1.2 grams per dose. It's ultra purified. And it uses a technology called Pure Max, which is a proprietary technology in which the oil is actually triply distilled. No other oil is triply distilled. They're usually only singly distilled. And this is so purified that the contaminants, the mercury, PCB, dioxins, are measured actually in parts per billion with a B instead of parts per million. So it's much, much more purified than all the other omega-3s out there. It's actually also processed under a nitrogen blanket. This protects it from the oxygen molecules, protects it from becoming rancidified, and therefore you're not getting the lipid peroxides. The level of peroxides is exceedingly low, lower than any other oil I've ever looked at. It comes in a cobalt blue glass jar. Why? Because we respect the fact that we worked so hard to get this very pure molecule in there. We don't want oxygen attacking it. And plastic containers breathe. Air gets into plastic containers. So that's why we put this in a cobalt blue glass jar. It blocks UV radiation. It also blocks oxygen from coming in. And there, briefly, I'll let you look at this, which is the technique of triple distillation of the omega-3. It's really a phenomenally done molecule in terms of its preparation. The best way to tell whether your omega-3 is rancid or not, which is the most important thing, is to bite into it, as horrible as that sounds. If you bite into it and it tastes like fish, you don't want to take it. First of all, it causes a lot of side effects of burping and fishy aftertaste if you're taking the omega-3. You may have already experienced that with your omega-3s, or you may have stopped taking an omega-3 because of that. It should taste, what ours tastes like is basically corn oil. There's no fishiness to it at all, and that is a sign that the peroxide or rancidity level is extremely low. So that kind of test you can do on your own at home. So to briefly summarize, and I hope that you are more interested in this topic and go to our website, which by the way is the www.cornerstonewellness.md. It's not .com, it's .md. That's a domain that's restricted to medical programs like ours. You can read more about omega-3s. I've got all the articles and all the different diseases. If you have one of those diseases or a loved one, you might want to read about how omega-3s can help them. But the point I want to get across today is that omega-3s are extremely important for all of the diseases we look at in this country in terms of inflammation, particularly heart disease. Omega-3s can be gotten from fish, which has its downside, which is the pollutants, particularly if you're eating the correct fish, which is ocean-run fish. The omega-6s you want to decrease in your diet. That's the breads, rice, any seed-based foods, any seed-based oils. In the case of oils, you'd want to move to something like omega-9, which is olive oil. And the other key is that you want to get the most purified omega-3 you can find. You only can get ours from a physician, but it is the purest oil you're going to find anywhere. And with no burping, no aftertaste, none of the other stuff you might have experienced with the less expensive, lower grade omega-3s. Look, when it comes to your health, and omega-3 should be a huge part of your health endeavor. You get what you pay for, really. Are you willing? What are you willing to risk? That's what it comes down to, and it's a small price to pay for excellent health, improvement, protection from horrible diseases like heart disease. And if you have any questions, please contact us through the website. Read more about this topic. I only barely touched on it, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you.